We're talking to Blake Allen this morning from Book of Mormon Tours. And you know, this is something, we're going to clear this Book of Mormon Tours. Don't let that lead you to believe that you have to be a member of the LDS Church in order to participate. And Blake, thank you so much for getting up with us and being here on the Mountain Morning Show this morning. These tours are phenomenal. And I think what a lot of people are misled and immediately don't find out about the adventure that they could truly have because it's labeled Book of Mormon Tours. Right. While that's a part of it, that's not the entire tour.
Well, absolutely. You know, we go down to what we call Mesoamerica, which is southern Mexico and Guatemala and Belize, and we get a great cultural experience as we get to learn about and associate with the native people. Mm-hmm. There are many, many native Maya people still living in the countries of Guatemala and Mexico and Belize, and a phenomenal people, an awesome history. Great things to learn about them and their culture and to benefit in our own lives.
And I think that's a part of it. You know, when you talk about Belize and you talk about Guatemala, there are some very exclusive resort areas. There are some beautiful beach areas. And I think that's where people get caught up. They don't realize the history of those countries and how important they are just to modern civilization and to what we're learning today about so many different things, the rainforest and about their survival rates and how they live. And these are very impoverished countries, but would you know that on these tours?
You do. I mean, you see the poverty. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's all around because they are, you know, struggling in a lot of different ways. But they are great people. They work hard. Many of them have a very strong family ethic, very friendly. You know, you walk down the street and everybody will say hello to you. We don't often get that here in the United States.
Right.
And so they're just a great people to be around, and we can learn a lot from them.
And, you know, tell us a little bit about Book of Mormon Tours and how it began, because this is an endeavor that you and your father took on, and it's just grown. Their books have developed from it, and it's also just a fantastic tour.
It is. We started in 1970. My dad was studying for his doctoral degree at Brigham Young University, and his dissertation... Go Cougars. Blue, you know. And he wrote his dissertation on a comparative study of Quetzalcoatl, who was the white god of this Mesoamerican region.
Right.
And in his research, he decided he better go to the Museum of Anthropology in Mexico City to get hands-on exposure to the documents and books that he needed to get. Mm-hmm. And so he took me with him. I was 10 years old at the time.
Oh, you're kidding.
And so for a month we were in this wonderful museum. He'd go back and study every day, and I would just wander through and look at all the marvelous artifacts and the cultural things they had on display. And I'd usually fall asleep somewhere on a bench in the afternoon when he'd, you know, come and find me, and we'd go home and do something fun in the afternoon. And it was from that we got started. He took the first tour in December of 1970, so we're just completing about 40 years now.
That's awesome.
And from those experiences, it's just turned on into a lifelong love and pursuit of trying to discover where we think the Book of Mormon took place.
Well, and I think one of the things that is so fantastic about this, you're not a novice at this. This is something that you are very familiar with. You know a lot of it. You've done a lot of research. So when people are on these tours with you, they are getting experiences that you're just not a tour guide that's going to just walk out there and show them the very basics and the very simple things. They're going to actually see and learn about the culture and the people.
Exactly. You know, when we go to an archaeological site such as Tikal or Palenque that are quite familiar to people, or some that are less familiar like Kaminahuyu in Guatemala City, we go there, we talk about the history of the place, how it was built, why it was built, some of the things that they did there, and so it really is a full rounded cultural experience in addition to the Book of Mormon point of view.
Right.
And you know, you mentioned earlier that you don't have to be a member of the church to go on one of these tours, because you do. You gain so much in the history and the culture of the peoples there, and they're just beautiful countries to visit.
And I think that's one of the things that people really need to take into consideration, that they're absolutely gorgeous areas of the world. I mean, some of the most beautiful beaches that you'll ever see, not to mention the culture itself is just phenomenal. And the food's not too bad either.
The food is great, you know.
It is really good.
A lot of times when we do go on the tours, the first couple of days, people are a little apprehensive. Okay, are they going to put us in a shack to sleep in?
Right.
And are we going to be, you know, eating just whatever? You know, we really try to take good care of people. We stay in nice hotels, eat great food. Matter of fact, we've had people complain that they gain weight on our tours, and it's like, well, we try to make you climb the pyramids and you know.
Try to exercise at the same time, however.
But again, you know, the beauty of the country is what's so exciting. The pyramids are awesome to look at and climb, but the highlands of Guatemala are just spectacular.
That's what I've heard.
Beautiful mountains. Some range up to 15,000 feet in elevation.
Wow.
And Guatemala City is called the land of eternal spring because it averages 72 degrees year-round. So it's just a very pleasant land.
And I think, too, it's a great opportunity for people to truly learn the culture. To learn about the culture that you only see if you're on vacation, but you never truly get to experience.
Exactly. And one cultural thing that I like to bring up is actually represented by this wood carving here on the stand here. This is a depiction of a man, a Maya person, carrying a load of firewood.
Yes.
And they still do this today. This isn't, you know, just something that was done anciently, but we see this today.
It's a tradition that they still carry on today.
It is.
It's how they transport firewood from one location
and
to
their
another.
vegetables, their produce.
Okay.
I even saw a man carrying a chest of drawers one day that was about 3 feet taller than he was.
You're kidding.
And you know, he just straps it on his back and he bends over and lifts the legs off the ground and heads out.
Well, tell us, we have 2 books here that you and your father co-authored one of the books. And these are available. How do people get these books? How do they find out more about the tours, and where do they go to get this
We have a
information?
website called bookofmormontours.com, easy to remember.
Yes,
and it lists our tours on there, and also you can contact us to order the book. Right now the book isn't available in any stores, it's just through us.
Online, okay.
And so you can either call or email an order to us and get it that way. This book here, called Exploring the Lands of the Book of Mormon, is actually our 2nd edition of this book.
Okay.
My father completed the 1st edition in 1989, and it's now been 20 years since that book, and so we thought we better do some updating, and we kind of wanted to make it the end-all source book, and so it is a rather large book, 932 pages.
So it's a great reference book, though, to use. So this would be fantastic to have as you prepare for your trip.
Exactly.
And get ready to go.
And if you do go with us, we actually give you a free book. So.
Oh, you do? Okay, so you'll have that to take care of. Now, do you offer any sort of courses that will teach people about the different types of cultures and what they'll actually see and experience?
We do. As a matter of fact, right now we are offering free online courses.
Okay.
And so, if I have your email, I can send you an invitation to participate in that. You sign up, you click on the time of the class.
Okay.
And then you just watch the presentation on your home computer.
Okay, and you just go to bookofmormontours.com to find out all about the online classes?
Right there on the home page, there's a link that you can click on. We have a class tonight at 7:30.
Okay.
And you can join us for that. Tonight we'll actually be discussing Chapter 4 in our book, which is called Archaeology in Mesoamerica. Okay. So if you want just a good understanding of some of these sites we've been mentioning, join us tonight and you'll learn about them.
And let's talk really briefly before we have to go. Cost. These are they pretty reasonable, or are people going to have to start saving now in order to really experience these adventures?
Yeah, we have various lengths of tours, 8 days, 12 days, 16 days. Our 16 days has really been a very popular tour over the years.
That's a long tour also.
It is,
That's
it's a 2-week
really
tour,
nice tour.
and so it's, at the same time, you need to realize that you're paying money to fly down a distance,
right?
And you want to get as much out of it as you can. Our 16-day tour was actually designed in 1982 by my dad and the editor of our book, Ted Stoddard, to follow the Book of Mormon kind of chronologically. And so we cover 80 to 85% of the Book of Mormon history in that 16-day time period.
Oh, that's awesome! But that's 2 weeks. That's a nice amount of time.
Yeah, and so we travel each day to an archaeological site or another point of interest. We had one teenage girl on with us one time that said driving on the bus and talking about the Book of Mormon was like seminary on wheels. And so it was a lot of fun.
So you have institute classes the entire time as well. But as we mentioned earlier, as we started this entire conversation, it's a great tour, even if you are not a member of the church. If you're interested in Mesoamerica, it's a great way to learn so much more about the culture and the people and their countries.
It is.
It's just a fantastic way. Blake, thank you so much for coming in this morning, this snowy morning.
It is.
For traveling. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me come up. It's been great.
bookofmormontours.com is where you would go online to find out more information about the tours, and there's a variety of tours depending on the length that you would like to participate in. And know that there are also online classes available for you, and you don't have to be a member of the LDS Church to really enjoy and experience these tours. So go to bookofmormon.com for more information. And we have so much more coming up on the Mountain Morning Show. We'll be right back after this.